Texas National Guard soldiers have been given special ammo, pepperballs, to deter illegal immigrants. Now, a lot of people are just going to be outraged by this. Now, why do they need this? Well, remember that little incident we had at El Paso when the horde of angry illegals broke through, accosted a bunch of the, National Guard that was at the border, and then they ran through and they broke through barricades? Yeah, that's called an invasion. So now the National Guard has pepperballs to repel said invasion through the United States border. Let's get into it. Here we go. So the state of Texas, under the leadership of Governor Greg Abbott, has a lot of reasons to celebrate the success of Operation Lone Star. That's been going on since 2022, I believe, maybe 2021. Because several recent reports show a sharp decline in the number of migrant encounters at all Texas border sectors. Since the start of the special operations more than 3 years ago, Texas has managed to put illegal immigration under control in the absence of adequate federal help. Adequate? There was none. It was the opposite. Customs and Border Protection were literally acting like travel agents and Uber drivers, getting the illegals, once they crossed over illegally, to wherever they wanted within the United States. Oh, let's write your name down on a little list, and that will get you where you need to go. All right, everybody for Chicago, line up over here. Denver? Yeah, you guys are here. Yeah, San Francisco, you're over here. DC? Oh, that line's over there. Yep, hurry along. Don't want to miss out on your meal at the Migrant Center. So it's laughable, right? Different entry points. The fact that Texas somehow managed to secure the border doesn't mean that immigration in general is under control. Getting into the country through Texas has become nearly impossible. So illegal immigrants have now shifted towards other entry points in Arizona and California. California, as a sanctuary state, now deals with a huge influx of immigrants at the southern border, a trend that experts believe is only going to get worse. I'm not an expert, but I've been saying this for a while. When you have pressure in one area and that area has basically been off limits, the cartel is a ruthless, brutal, billion dollar a year organization. They're a business. They're going to make an adjustment. They're going to come up with something else. That something else is Arizona, New Mexico, and California, specifically San Diego, right? The state of California is projected to experience a record high number of immigrants this fiscal year, something that heavily bothers California's southern areas, including local residents who are fearing for their safety and are actively buying guns in recent weeks. Did a podcast on that one. You should check it out. So, okay, some things in this paragraph. Yes, Texas has done they've done hands down. Greg Abbott has gone, full tilt on pressing back, getting the razor wire up, getting all kinds of personnel there. Other states have chipped in that are border states and states that believe, hey, this invasion shouldn't be happening. They've chipped in. They've got people coming. You've got National Guard. You've got the state entity from Florida sending troops in. But a lot of what I think is going on is Mexico has really, kind of pulled folks back from making this happen, from making you through the southern border into Texas. They have really, they've disallowed the beast train, La Bestia, and they have been actively taking folks that are, walking or migrating or getting rides or whatever. And if they bust them, they're pushing them back into southern Mexico. So you got a lot of that going on. And Texas is claiming, well, it's because of what we're doing. Yes and no, just to be honest. The numbers are down. But again, the cartel, they're not dumb. They are going to go to the path of least resistance because that's how they make more money, getting people into the United States. That's their end goal, right? And with Customs and Border Protection, our federal entity, acting as a travel agent and Uber drivers, you want to be able to get your job done. So, hey, let's go up to Cali. It's easier there. There's no pushback. Texas, yeah, that Abbott, he's a real bastard. He's not letting us in. So what's next? During the last 3 years, Texas has implemented various controversial measures to secure the border. Thousands of troops are currently monitoring the Texas border with Mexico with the help of other Republican-led states. Despite the increased difficulty for migrants to cross the Texas border, those seeking entry into the U.S. employ various sneaking techniques to avoid detection. Such a trend is evident in El Paso. Every day, hundreds of migrants are reaching the area just south of El Paso through freight trains known as the Beast, La Bestia. This surge started when the Mexican government eased its restrictions on people catching rides on these trains. Now, we don't have to walk all that way. You do have to ride on top of a train, which is very dangerous. They'll tie the young kids off, and the Mexican government will intermittently, when the trains stop, pick off the pretty ones, and then, it's not good. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. In anticipation of more illegal crossing attempts, Texas National Guard soldiers have been equipped with non-lethal pepperball ammunition. That's basically crowd control, right? This measure aims to prevent migrants from illegally crossing in the heavily secured areas near entry ports. Source from the National Guard disclosed to the New York Post. You don't know what pepperball is? Think of like a high-powered paintball gun, where the kids run around and shoot each other in the ass and it explodes out. Now, that does look like fun, right? And it's supposed to sting. Ouch. Yeah, you see bruising on YouTube videos and you're like, ugh. Pass, no thanks. Catch one in the eye. Oh, I gotta have my paintball gun goggles. No, they're pretending that they're playing war. But that's a game. This is real life. And in crowd control situations, in riot control, authorities oftentimes use pepperball because it's like a paintball gun, but it's got a pepperball that explodes. And so what you can do is you can shoot somebody at a distance. If somebody's getting out of control and you don't want to blow up the whole crowd, shoot that one individual, boom. I think they shoot for the torso and maybe the legs, the big spots, so that when the pepperball hits, it explodes and it just, it goes all over that person and it takes that person out of the equation. Used for riot control, for crowd control, which we've had at El Paso very recently. We had how many? A couple hundred do that whole surge thing through. Well, when you got a riot, you need to take measures. This is the measure. More troops are called. Armed with thousands of pepperballs, the troops are ready for action, as described by the source who exclaimed, "It's on like Donkey Kong." All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Did you ever play Donkey Kong? It was a good game. I was okay at it. I was not great. I was more into asteroids. I was more into Galaxian. I was more into Galaga, however you want to call it. Donkey Kong, I can only get through a few of those things, right? Indicating that more soldiers are being summoned as backup. Last Wednesday, the first of these trains arrived in Warz, just south of El Paso. It's just on the other side, right? We talked about that. It's a podcast on this channel. Check it out. Or not. Do whatever you want to do. Unloading hundreds of migrants. According to a report by Border Report, some of these migrants plan to head straight to the Rio Grande to illegally cross into El Paso. That's the whole reason they're there, right? While many families aim to find shelter in Juarez before making their crossing attempt on Thursday. What an ordeal. You know what upsets me is that with the millions and millions and millions of people that have been brought into the United States illegally by our federal government, you've created this vacuum where now millions of people are like, okay, this is the time to go. Let's go. And they're putting their lives in danger, the lives of their kids in danger, and they're entrusting the cartels to get them there. What kind of racket is this? It's just, it's insane, right? The insanity on this level is just like, we're doing what? And who's supporting them? That makes no sense. The death train. Migrants call the trains that take them to the border La Bestia, meaning the beast, because it's also known as the death train. You see these people riding it. You see a train go by. You're like, oh my gosh. I watched Bald and Bankrupt. He rode La Bestia and said it was very cold. I mean, freezing temperatures at night. Freezing temperatures. You're out in the desert. It's freezing. And you're up there just, wind chill up there. Just got to be hellacious. You got little kids. You tie them off. Roof of a train. The name comes from the high risks of death or injury as migrants cling to the sides or ride on the roof during the perilous journey between Chihuahua and Warz, Chihuahua being way far south. In response to a recent surge where hundreds of migrants overran a non-entry gate known as Gate 36. You'll see Gate 36 mentioned all the time because that's where they're shooting for. Let's go to Gate 36. 36, is that right? I think so. On March 21st, this happened, and that's why we're getting the Pepperball. Texas has equipped soldiers and state troopers with Pepperball guns and other devices designed to disperse large groups. In the past, you haven't had large groups basically bum rush the border at a sector like Sector 36. That just hasn't been a thing. But you've got these rumors that get started, and then these groups get agitated, and you know that group herd mentality? That's literally what you saw happen, and the National Guard just got overrun. Well, so when you have an invasion, you make adjustments. If you've been, done battle with and, you got overrun. Okay, what are we going to do? Well, next time, let's have Pepperball. So that is exactly kind of where we sit. Incidents at the border. This event in late March was not a standalone occurrence. According to KFOX 14, another significant incident occurred at the El Paso border on April 12th. On April 15th, in a separate event, a soldier, a part of Texas border efforts, shot a migrant while intervening in a stabbing among illegal border crossers. So, all right. And the thing about the Pepperball is you might be going, well, that's terrible. That's horrible. You can't be shooting the poor immigrants, the poor illegals with Pepperball. Better than being shot with the live round, right? Real bullet. Better than being shot with that because you may not come back from that. Pepperball, yeah, your eyes might water a little bit and get a big old bruise. You might be winged and it might set you back, but it's non-lethal. That's the bottom line, right? It's non-lethal. Despite efforts to manage the situation, Texas officials anticipate further incidents. Yeah, if it happens once, moving forward, okay. Expecting an increase in migrant numbers in the coming months as summer approaches. That's what you've got going on. So expect those numbers in California, specifically San Diego, hour east of San Diego. That's where everything has gone to, right? Because Texas is putting up a little bit of a little bit of a fight, just a scooch of a fight. We can't have that. We can't have the southern border secured because if the feds aren't going to do it, state does it. And that's that whole big lawsuit, right? Who else just came up? Oklahoma. I didn't do a podcast on that because we've got so much Antifa stuff going on, but Oklahoma basically just passed a law, state law that states if you come into Oklahoma illegal, that's against the law and we're going to hold you based on Oklahoma law. We might prosecute you. We might deport you. Yeah, right? So when I first saw this headline, I thought, that's interesting. Pepperball. Okay, what's the deal there? And then I kind of researched the whole Pepperball thing and it became apparent. This is riot control. This is crowd control. And then I worked through, all right, military uses it, police uses it. And, before I started covering CHOP and CHAZ and all that ridiculousness, I didn't really know what all the terms for all of this was. It was, CS gas, and you got this, and you got this. All right, what kind of spray did I just get? I got to get a gas mask. And I actually do have a gas mask. We have two. We have two of them, not one. We have two. My son, Brennan, who's no longer with us, we experienced police tear gas. Actually, it wasn't police. That would have been, I believe, National Guard, because we were outside of a federal building in Portland watching the endless 170 whatever nights of riots that happened in Portland. And we were right there. And yeah, the tear gas, tear gas was lobbed out into the park to get these ridiculous people to disperse, ourselves included. And we ran through the tear gas. And yes, it was terrible. It really stings the eyes, but it basically takes up an entire area. Lob a few of those out into a park. Nobody's going to go in there because unless you got a gas mask, you're not going to just be running around. And so my game plan with my son, and I know I've told this story a number of times, my game plan with my son, Brennan, was to go to the back where we're away from the front line and where there's going to be no tear gas. We had planned for this. Well, I kind of figured, I might not be back here for a while because this isn't safe. I'd already shut down one live stream, recognizing that, even my son's as big as I am. This isn't safe. This isn't a safe environment. And so I kind of figured I'm not going to be back here. I'm going to get as much good footage as I can. Yep. You can see that video on here. It's something about being tear gassed in Portland. And so I kind of ran to where I thought there was more activity. I ran through all the tear gas coming up from these things emanating the tear gas. And my son, he followed instructions. He followed orders. He ran to the back. So after I got my footage and I circled back around and caught up with him. He was like, Dad, what are you doing? We said we're going to go to the back. And I'm like, yeah, you did the right thing, but got to do it for the gram, right? So that's what we did. And then, you can see in the footage, my eyes are just burning. I've got contacts, and contacts with tear gas is not great, but you can make it through that, right? Pepperball gets shot. You got those scopes, you got those CO2 cartridges, I would think, or what powers though them. My paintball, my pepperball gun knowledge is limited to doing a quick search and going, oh, this makes sense. Because then you can crowd control from a ways away if you've got the angry mob coming at you. And, people want to say, well, why would you need pepperball, pepperballs against the poor immigrants? Well, if a couple hundred of them are coming your way, then you're going to need something, and you don't want to kill them, right? Because that's not necessary, but you want to be able to stop them and get control of the situation. And you can do that by picking off individuals. And so that's where I think this makes absolute sense, because people want to say this isn't an invasion, but when you've got millions and millions of people, and this summer particularly, I believe, in my opinion, with the elections coming up, and if somebody wins versus the other one, and there are mass deportations, well, you might want to get in now. So I think your number is going to escalate, because people aren't going to go, okay, you know what? This is probably our last opportunity. You know what? Maybe we'll just stay in Venezuela and ride this out. They're not doing that. They're like, let's get on the road. Let's get going. And so you've literally got thousands and thousands of people en route right now that are going to be coming to the southern border. Whether they go to Texas or not, doesn't look like that's happening. Go to Cali, because Cali, sanctuary state. Oh yeah, come on in. All right. Yeah. We'll have Customs and Border Protection help you out. Where would you like to go? El Norte? You want to go to Denver? All right. There you go. There you go. Yeah. That's literally what's going on, but not in Texas. Texas National Guard. They are defending their territory. And that's been the enormous difference between Texas and so many of these other weak southern states that are just being overrun and taken advantage of. Because, why send them to Texas when you can send them to Cali? No, they'll get in. Look at they'll get the kid glove treatment, right? Meaning really soft gloves. We're going to handle you with gentleness and whatever. We're going to make your experience illegally entering the United States as comfortable as humanly possible. We know you've done a journey from a long ways away, and I don't blame these people for doing what they're doing, escaping a, violent life in another, country where things are just absolutely politically upside down. But you got to have some organization, and you can't just let people come in willy-nilly. Those kind of shenanigans you just can't have. But we've got them going on. And if Pepperball is used to control crowd situations, it's what you do, right? It's what authorities do. That's kind of just how it goes. So I'm in support of that. No issues there. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe, hit the like button for this video, hit the notification bell. We're putting out, we put out 12 videos a week. We put out 48 videos a month. Love to have you watch them all. Thanks again for being here. Bye for now. We'll catch up on the next one.